Ngabe uwabhala lawo entry?
Aye.
No.
You say the signature at the bottom is whose signature? Are you able to tell? You're saying that's Lieutenant Colonel Jacob.
Kodwa uthi lo osayinile lapho Jacobs.
Yeah, asikhuluma ngento eyodwa la.
We're talking about one entry here.
Eku C04.
C04.
Yes, on the 23rd of June.
Yeah, ngomhla ka-23.
Yeah, Colonel Jacob.
Yes, it is Colonel Jacobs.
So does it mean he was back at work on the 23rd?
Usho ukuthi wayesebuyile emsebenzini ngalelo langa ka-23.
This is the day after the operation, right?
Emva kusho isuku elilandela ilanga le-operation.
Wayengakabuyi.
No, he had not come back then.
So how is that entry in your investigation diary?
Ingena kanjani ke i-signature yakhe lapho kulo diary?
Aye, angazi.
I don't have a clue.
Thank you, Mr. Skaka.
Diary not with you the whole time.
Kanti i-diary engagcinwa ngowena sonke isikhathi le?
Yeah, it mean.
So how did Colonel Jacobs manage to put an entry in your diary on the day that he's not with you and he's on leave?
Manje mnewethu tshela thini kuza kanjani wangena kanjani ngomkhonyovu njani angene lapha esayinda engekho?
Hey, angikhumbula ngazi.
I don't remember. I do not know.
Does it mean you allowed Colonel Jacobs?
Not know.
Does it mean you allowed Colonel Jacobs to insert a false entry into your diary?
Ngamanye amagama kusho ukuthi uvuma ukuthi uKenneth Jacob afake lo diary yakho into ongayazi ungabonile.
Lutho angimvumelanga.
I did not give him that permission.
But where else would he have got your diary? If it's your diary, how else and where else would he have got it?
Kanjani umlingo ukhona kanjani ukuthi bese ayitholakala le diary kanti kuwena seyisayindile?
Mina mangibuka i-diary ngicina ukuyibhala okumhla 2306.
Wena.
Yeah.
Well, and I look at this. The last time I had some entry in the diary, it was on the 23rd, 06.
Yes, that we can see.
Siyakubona lokho.
So how is he able to put another entry on the same date when he's on leave and he's not with you?
Umbuzo omkhulu akekho. Ukhona la. Ngomoya thizeni ungene kanjani azosayinda la engekho kuzwakala kanjani?
Anginaso isiqiniseko kodwa into engiyicabangayo ukuthi i-entry ayenze le esekuye emsebenzini wayeseyi backdate. Into engicabanga.
Nasebuye emsebenzini.
Yeah.
Well, without any certainty, but I'll presume that he entered this way on his arrival coming back from leave, and he backdated this.
Yes, that's the only logical answer.
Cishe ushayile ke leyo. Cishe yazwakala ke leyo mpendulo.
Yeah.
The other possibility is he did come into the office, you gave him your diary, and he made that entry. That's the other possibility.
Uyazi
Now,
okunye
that
kukhona
on the
kungenzeka.
23rd itself.
Nase sibuka kabanzi. Kungenzeka wafika. Umne wenu lo wathi ndoda wamnika wasayina.
Ngabe ngiyayikhumbula.
I would remember if that was the case.
You would remember it, but you wouldn't say it because on your construction and his construction, the story is he came in on the 22nd to run this operation, and he left from Esipingo police station, went back on leave. You tell us you took over from that point, which is what he tells us too. You took over from that point until he came back. You say you took over just to hold the inquiry file for him. He tells us you were the investigating officer and then he came back later when he finished his vacation leave and came back later. So this 23rd entry, it's your diary. You would, if he made the entry and backdated it, You would know, it's your diary. You would know.
Lalela ke mina ngizoyiqala la emuva leyo emaphethelweni. Idayari ngiyakho. Nguwena oyiphethe. Kufanele wazi okwenzakalayo ngayo. Njengoba sechazile ucommissioner ukuthi uhambile lo muntu ngomhla ka-22 wabuya la efika kwenzeka yonke le ibuya idayari. Manje kusho ukuthi cishe lokho okubhalile siyakuzwa. Ubhalile lokho okusho ukuthi kwenzele kodwa akusiyinto enzakele lapha ngendlela uyisho ngakhona.
Kungale ndlela engisho ngayo. Idayari ngenzeka ukuthi mina ngagcina ngale dayari ukubhala. Yena wayesefaka la amanye amadayari.
Amanye ama-date nama-diary.
Yeah.
Khuluma ngama-diary or ngama-date?
Ngama-diaries.
Yes, well, according to me, the witness is showing Commissioner that as far as he's concerned, he's showing a page where he last entered this thing in a diary. I presume when he came back, he then entered other entries.
We know that you went back to Port Shepstone, DPCI, well, Port Shepstone Police Station and DPCI offices on the 23rd and the 24th. Am I correct with that?
Ngabe kunjalo ukuthi wena ngalelanga lela show ke-23 wena wase-DPCI office.
Yebo,
Wagcina
kunjalo.
sowufikile nakhona kunjalo.
Yebo, kunjalo.
Yes.
Why is the 24th not in your diary? You have the 23rd.
Nasibheka idayari yakho. Kubhaliwe lapha ngomhla ka-23. Kodwa ngomhla ka-24 lutho. Kanjani?
Okungenzeka ukuthi i-inquiry engasekho kumina.
The possibility is that at that stage, the inquiry was no longer with me.
No, it would still have been with you because you are holding for Colonel Jacobs and he's on leave on the 24th. What do you mean that
Cha
that-
mnewethu.
it's no longer with you?
Beyisasenawe ngoba phela uphathele uwophethe intambo. Usaselivini. Uwophethe izinto zikuwena.
Ya ngithi ngiyacabanga ukuthi ngaphandle kokuthi ingenzeka ukuthi inquiry engasekho kumina asikho esinye isizathu.
Well, the only reason I can think of, nothing else, is that the inquiry was no longer in my possession.
Okay. So who did you give the inquiry file to? Remember at this point, we're talking the 23rd, the 24th. I think Colonel Jacobs, we see him signing on the 29th. And I think he said he came back from leave around that time. So you have the inquiry file. He told you open the inquiry file. You opened it. When you say maybe the file was no longer with you, you must have given it to somebody by the 24th. That you must be able to tell us.
Yabona ke ndoda nasibheka njengoba sizwile 23 24 unondoda uzowahamba wazowayenza ikhabutrekhe esebuya ngayi-20.9 la icishe ke lapho wena lokhu iphethe ifile nokuvula ushaya ukuthi ukuvula bayicelile ukuthi uvule inquiry manje ugcina ukuthi beyingasekho kuwe chaza kanjani usho ukuthini?
Okungenzeka ukuthi i-file kanye nama samples ngayinikeza warrant officer Sibia.
There's a possibility that I handed these files over to Sibia,
Warrant officer Sibia.
Warrant Officer Sibia.
On the 24th, you would have already given it to Warrant Officer Sibia.
Ngomhla ka-24 kusho ukuthi bosomnikile uSibia.
Ngicabanga kanjalo.
I think so.
Why would you give it to Warrant Officer Sibia and then still go to Port Shepstone, DPCI and police station and take samples? On the day that you're doing that, why would your diary be, or the file, be with Sibia if you are doing that job?
Ndoda uSibia unikwa kanjani lento kanti wena usaphethe nakho phela uthi ntinini uyale ePotchefstroom DPCI phela lapho usalokhu khona nawe kule ndaba umnika kanjani ke uSibia?
uSibia ngimnika ngoba ngase ngikhulumile noJacob ukuthi ngeke ngiqhubeke nokuthi ngibe investigating officer.
I gave it to Sibia because I had already spoken to Jacobs that I was no longer going to carry on being an investigating officer.
Ngase ngimtshelile.
I had already told him.
Yeah, well, you told him on the scene that you won't be an investigating officer, and then he, at Potchefstroom, according to you, Isipingo police station, and he said go open an inquiry file and hold it for him. So I'm discussing with you on the basis, at least for our discussion, I accept that's what happened, that at Isipingo, you said to him, I will not be an investigating officer, and he says to you, okay, open an inquiry file and hold it for me. Right? I accept that for our purposes. You say to us, and then on the 23rd, you went back and did something about these exhibits. On the 24th, you went back and did something about these exhibits. Why would you give the inquiry file that you are holding for Lieutenant Colonel Jacob? Why would you give it to Sibia when you are holding it for Jacob on the 24th?
Ndoda, uyabona kuzwakale kahle ngawakho amagama ukuthi yebo le ngxoxo yakhulunywa uJacob nawe ukuthi thathu investigate kwakusesiphingo lapho washo wena uthi ngeke nje ngokuya kwakho wanqaba kodwa wasithi hamba uyovula open ama inquiry manje umbuzo omkhulu ukuthi ke nge-23 lokho ikuwe na nge-24 manje sekuza kanjani ngoba ikuwe lento so idlulisa kanjani uyinika omunye
Isizathu salokho ingenxa ukuthi one kangayisebenzi
uzaso
kangayisebenzi
awungayisebenzi okay
yes lesokuqala isizathu leso esesibili ukuthi ngathi mangikhumbula kahle ngathi mangibuya nama samples ePotchefstroom ethe uJacob angwanikeze warrant officer Sibia ngasale sengimnikeza ne-inquiry yonke into.
Yes, I would give a reason like, firstly, I was no longer working on this case. And secondly, I went to fetch the samples and with the instruction of Jacobs, was that I must hand the sample over to Sibia. Then I took it upon me to give this thing as well to him, Sibia.
So when you returned from Potchefstroom, you still had the file with you?
Asiyesibe sizwe kahle. Na ubuye ePotchefstroom. Busawaphethe kuwena
Mangikhumbula kahle.
if I remember correctly.
So why did you not make the entry in the diary before you gave to Sibia? You gave this file to Sibia.
Manje uyabuya lapho. Khumbula unenotebook, unepenseli. Kodwa ukubhala no-24. Ukuthi kwenzakalani manje? Awubhalanga ndawo.
Yeah. Anginaso isizathu.
I don't have any reason.
Thank you, Mrs. Kakan.
Thank you, Commissioner. Just on this, before we get off, something that may clarify matters, but maybe raise another question. Colonel Jacobs, on the 3rd of June, in his testimony, conceded to the fact that he made this entry and that he may have, on his own, and he may have made it when he came back. If I may just read what he
Uthi
said.
ke ngathi cishe kube kanjalo uJacob lona naye ngathi thena inifakazi wavuma ukuthi ya ngenzeka ukuthi wabhala lapha nasebuya wena ubufakazi bonakala ngomhla ka3 kaJune.
Does what you are about to read from explain the fact that the date of the entry is the 23rd of June 2021 as opposed to the 29th of June when Colonel Jacob came back?
just get some clarity, Chair.
Yes.
So you're
Oh,
saying,
you are saying he conceded, that's Colonel Jacob,
Jacob.
that it is he who wrote this. And you say that he explained in testimony that he must have made the entry when he came back.
correct,
Do I understand
As in
that to mean
backdating.
coming back from leave?
yes, on the 29th.
On the now I say now my point is, but this entry is dated 23
Yes,
June 2021. So my question is, does what you are about to read from explain why the date is the 23rd of June 2021? If he says he may have made the entry when he came back, and we know that he came back on the 29th of June 2021. This is not about you.
No.
It's
Sure, I'm
about
trying
what
to understand.
it's about what he said
Yes.
in his testimony,
Perhaps-
which is in the transcript in front of you. So I just wanted to have an idea if it does explain that, or perhaps let's just let you read what
yeah,
he
I think,
says.
Chair, maybe let
And
me read
yes,
it out. It's quite short.
yes,
Yeah, khona
yes.
kuphambana khona ngama-date ukuthi wabuya nini wabhalisa nini kodwa sizoqhubeka sizwe ukuthi kwahamba kanjani.
When he was questioned, and it was by Commissioner Baloyi, and perhaps it should clarify about. So, no. Apologies. Colonel Jacob said when he was pressed around the 23rd, he says, yes, but okay, it is not made on the 23rd. Because on the 23rd, I resumed my leave, meaning I was on leave. So if I look at this, and I will be honest, I either made it on the 22nd, just to, as a formality to Warrant Officer Mpangase, or I may have done it on my return to work because I see nobody did the inspection, the inspectorate.
He could not have made it on the 22nd. You say he says he could have made the entry on the 22nd.
He says either or, 22nd or the 29th.
The 22nd would not make sense because we have Warrant Officer Mpangase's entries,
Yes,
which run all the way to the 23rd of June.
correct.
So if he made it on the 22nd, it would have had to come before
Before, after.
Warrant Officer Mpangase's entries of the 23rd.
Yes.
So that's just out of the question.
So,
And I'm saying so, what he says there about the 22nd
Yes,
is simply out of the question.
correct.
And
correct.
yes,
Correct.
and then the question about the 29th stands because the entry is dated the 23rd. Anyway.
So he may have falsified that.
Hey, ngathi abantu benhle lapha. Ma-date ndoda, uma uya ngayi-22 lo muntu kanjani ngoba wena ngayi-23 bosayiphethe nangayi-29 hey lama-date ukuthi uyenze nini le nto ayibhale lapho. So asiqhubeke nje mhlawumbe kuzawuqala.
So what is curious, obviously, is that there's a gap at the top of the page for which he found space to make an entry. But that's obviously not something that you can answer.
Akekho kodwa ukuthi ayiphendulele siyabona lapha bekunegap mhlawumbe uyowafaka lapho wahlokoloza wafaka lokhu kodwa akekho kuyiphendulela kuleyo yinto.
Yes.
I hear that.
Then let's go back just to one question on this Isipingo, and then we move off it to Poshepston. And it's around the entry in the sub-13. And it was,
Before you do that, Mr. Skakan, the Isipingo SAP 13, you say you made those entries, you entered the exhibits in the SAP 13.
Isiphingo SAP 13 uwe Qobo wakufaka lapho
Yebo
wabhalisa.
kunjalo.
Yes, it is so.
And you also signed them out. So you signed them in and you signed them out.
Wasayinela mazingena, wasayinela masiphuma.
Yebo kunjalo.
Yes.
The reason that we can just pull that SAP 13 if we have it is you said they are going for analysis. Why did you say that when that was not true?
Manje uthe isizathu sokuthi usayinele out ngomhla nasesiphuma. What zazihamba ziyocwanungile kulento okuthiwa analysis. Kodwa bekungenjalo, uyingani washo lokho?
Warrant officer, go to page 2 of that paper that they've just given you. So they've just handed you a piece of paper.
Wabheka upage 2 kule phepha basanda ukukunika lona,
On page 2,
page 2.
to your right, it will say A16 on top of that, page 2.
Uyabona?
Page 2.
Then at the bottom of that page, you will see an entry that says 4.1.
Egcineni lapho ezansi kulelo qeshana lelo.
And it says Warrant Officer MF Mpangase. And then to your right, that's the entry Commissioner Balwa is referring to.
Yiyo ke lapho ngaku right wakho esandleni sakho sokudla, yiyo le ekukhulunywa ngayo.
Okay. Into engenzeka la
What could have happened here
ngathi sengiwafakile ama-exhibit.
after I have inserted them?
uJacob wangitshela ukuthi sizowakhipha
Jacob told me that we are going to take them out
siwahambise e-lab
and transport them to the lab
ngoba bathi sorry ngoba bathi uPerimel
because
What?
they said Perumal
yena uPerimel wathi ngeke akwazi ukuthi ayigcine la.
himself, Perumal said he could not keep them.
So i-decision ke eyaqhamuka noJacob ukuthi fanele siwayise e-forensic.
Then the decision came from Jacobs that we need to take them to forensics
For analysis
for
and
analysis
storage.
and storage.
So izathu ke senza ukuthi ngibhalele entry angisibone esinye isizathu.
That would be the reason for me to enter this entry, no other reason.
But then, when it became clear that the exhibits were not going to FSL, they were going to Port Shepstone. And even on the following day, you put an entry in the Port Shepstone SAP 13. Why did you not correct the entry at Ispingo? Why did you not correct that? Because that's clearly misleading. The exhibits did not go to FSL for analysis. They went to Port Shepstone from Ispingo. So why did you not correct the SAP register in Ispingo?
Kuyabonakala ke ukuthi ngempela zange ziye lapha kuyocwaningwa nje bakwenziwa ama-analysis. Kodwa zaya lesiphingo. Manje ingani zange ngoba wabona kunephutha la. Ingani ungathi ukuthi hey ngiyenza right ngiyayilungisa lento. Why ungazange uyilungise?
Angizange ngicabange ukuyilungisa.
I never thought of fixing it.
Kodwa uma ubhala statement se-chain ngangizokumenshina lokho.
But when you write a statement, it's a chain process. I was going to mention that.
Because you see, Warrant Officer, when all the officers who were transporting the exhibits from Ispingo, when you were leaving that police station, by then the discussion with Brigadier Nyuso had taken place. As everybody was leaving Ispingo police station, you all knew that these exhibits were going to Port Shepstone at the DPCI office. You had an opportunity then to correct this clearly incorrect entry in the SAP 13 at Ispingo, and you did not correct it.
Kodwa uyabonakala nje nanisuka lapha esiphingo nangu noNyusi ukhona lapha kuyaxoxa kuyakhulunywa. Kwakucace ngokusobala ukuthi hayi khona lezi zinto ziya lesiphingo. Aziyi kule ndawo yokuyocwaninga. Ungani ungazange uwenze uyithathe uyibeke kuwena lento ukuthi uyibhale ngendlela ehambisana nalokho.
Engqondweni yami ngangitshela ukuthi ngizofaka istatement kwi-chain ye-exhibit ukuthi ihambe kanjani usuke
In my mind, I had thought I'll put a statement and put the chain of events
ukuya Potchefstroom.
indicating how it